Woken up to this text message. This is the week where we find out if I do my biggest deal ever in recruitment. I am on the verge of Good morning, it's Monday, 9:33, and I'm in the office on a bank holiday because it's a bank holiday again. I don't know whose idea it is to cram all these bank holidays around April, May. Surely we can spread these bank holidays out across the year. I have quite a busy day today. There's 3 different things that I want to show you and walk you through today. But before I do, we have to start the day the same way every single time. Electrolytes, which I've already poured. I'm now addicted, so I can't start my day without electrolytes. Secondly is pick a podcast. There's only one that I'm loving at the minute, and it's My First Million. Sadly, I've listened to every single episode of like the last 2 years. So I'm gonna have to re-listen to one of the ones from the last couple of weeks. And I'm probably gonna pick Scott Galloway. That was a good episode about how he turned 8 million into 120 million for investing. Thirdly, the most important one, I think, is the handwritten diary. I really like doing this on a bank holiday. I can write down exactly what I've got to do on every single day. I can also work out where I'm investing my time to get the most return on investment. Getting it out of my head into a book is really, really helpful. The first thing I want to show you this morning is the new CRM, because I watched last week's episode back and I realized I spoke about the CRM twice and was supposed to show you, but I didn't. That week was a really long week. So here we are. Our old CRM is Job Adder. Transparency on price, we paid around £79 per month per user, which is pretty good for a CRM. Functionality wise, really good, clean, the colors, everything's displayed on the left-hand side. You can pull a number of reports. The search functions are easy, adding candidates is very easy, and it does everything you want. There is one big reason why we've moved to this new CRM called Atlas. Anyone that's aware of Atlas will know why. The biggest hook that they've got is that recruiters shouldn't be doing admin, and I agree. We bloody hate admin. And this CRM takes 60% of a recruiter's tasks and automates them. So yeah, the functionality and how it looks, we like how simple it is and how much automation it does. When you sign up, it goes back 3 months in your emails and adds every single contact and CV that you've had from your email to the system already. Anytime you get a CV through to your email, it automatically uploads that to the CRM without you doing anything. To add a CRM, you can literally drag and drop like this. If you've spoken to someone via phone or email, even if the number isn't on the system, it pulls up who that is. If they are on the system and they're down as a candidate or contact, if you speak to them through email, LinkedIn, or phone, every single thing is recorded forever. So you essentially have to do no admin. It connects up to WhatsApp, it connects up to your mobile, so every single bit of information is added automatically. It's almost double the price actually, so it's £130 per user. It made complete sense. We reached out to them and yeah, it solved our single problem. We couldn't be happier. So this is the CRM we are now using, worth every penny so far. The second thing that I'm going to be working on today, and we'll show you now, is the onboarding pack that I'm going to be completing for our new starter. So before Kyle started, I spent a number of weeks investing quite a lot of time into building some systems and processes for him so that we can be aligned on how we go out to market and how we represent the business. And you'll see here that he's got a number of folders that represent some of the different areas of what he'd be working in within a week. So things for him to use daily, training, terms of business, LinkedIn content ideas, meetings with prospects. We open up that, a pre-meeting document, a job on checklist, a job qualification sheet. Go down to use daily. He's got hot candidate list, lead sheet, candidate qualification sheet. These are all documents that I put together. So when he started, if he had a candidate call, he could work through the checklist to give him some structure. He's well up to speed now, and I'm going to be replicating that for the new starter, Bailey. This is a lot of upfront work, but anyone that's building a business will know that it's a big time investment to train someone. If they can not rely on you as much and they can just read the systems and processes and they've got structure to follow, it's far beneficial in the long run. Typical, I just get my oats and there's a call coming in. So I replied to your email. Just to talk you through the options very briefly, the two are they set you up, they do all your taxes, they do your pension contributions. The second one is also relatively simple. There's no need to set up as like a limited company. You can actually become a sole trader. You don't have to set up anything new because you're already set up. You get it paid directly into there, and then you would do your your self-assessment and your tax yourself. So that'll come through tomorrow. Then there'll be a contract as well, which will just talk about like the notice period from both of you. I will go back to them and let them know in writing that you've accepted. Well, that's great news. That's great news. I'm really pleased for you. That's all right. I know it's been a bit of a tough search for you, hasn't it? Was it since November? And are you happy with the start date of Monday the 2nd, so the week after? Sounds good. I really appreciate everything. I'll get that sorted and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Well done. And that is an offer accepted on a Monday. Yes. They wanted a 80% manual QA tester with 20% automation to come in, pretty much hit the ground running on the manual side of things and pick up some automation along the way. That person was actually hired through the job advert we posted. So would you believe we actually made a hire from those 520 applicants? It's that person's first time contracting, so I was helping out with some of the differences between going through an umbrella or a sole trader. Yeah, really pleased, really pleased. He's been searching for a new opportunity since November. He's had a number of interviews and fell short. This was the first contract one he's applied for and he's got it. Yeah, really pleased for him. You could tell in his voice, he's very happy with that. He's got a 3-year-old son and that meant the world to him. So an offer on a bank holiday Monday. Doesn't get much better than that. Just in the office, so I replied to that email, but I thought it might be easy just to give you a call on it. What you've done, it's not the wrong thing to do, but if anyone sends me an attachment, the first thing I'm gonna do is click on it. So you've basically just told him what he can read for himself. So rather than do that, tell a story to help you. From all of our experience, we know that engineers who have, if you can remember the specific things he said, X, Y, Z, smaller company mentality, potentially willing to go the extra mile, we find that these companies usually work at companies, a company size of 1 to 10. So if you can tell him in one or two lines that you've done this because all the experience that all the success we've had has been with engineers at this company size. What you want to try and write something and then imagine how it's going to be received. Yeah. So if you can write something which shows there's not many people open to opportunities, we've done the legwork, we found how many people are in our ICP, like we're already speaking to them, that's a good prompt for them to move forward. And I think this is probably the best way to get them to move forward. I really do. So write like honestly nothing more than like 3 lines. All right, mate, give me a call back when you need it, yeah? Nice one, mate, see ya. Carl's working from home today, so that was me helping him out with an email that we're putting across to a prospect that we are very close to bringing on. We sent out terms of business on Friday, but we didn't get them back in time. So Carl's used the initiative and we've agreed to send out a LinkedIn talent pool report that we've just put together. So that clearly shows some of the data around the specific programming language and the software engineers that they're looking for in their area and just how scarce it is. Why is Carl working from home, you might be wondering? 2 months ago, I decided to move to an unlimited holiday policy. I work incredibly hard and I expect anyone who's around me and working with me to work incredibly hard too. But I cannot expect that unless I tell people to rest incredibly hard as well. So we've got an open agreement here where if you are feeling overworked, you are feeling close to burnout, take some rest. I need 1 day's notice. If you need a couple of days off, go take it. But when you're here, you work hard. It's working so far, so I don't expect anyone to come in on a bank holiday and he's grinding away at home. What a good lad. Those are my 3 productive hours done in the office this morning. I got there at 9:30. And I'm just leaving now about 12:30. I really enjoy working bank holidays because I'm pretty much the only one in the building, in the Maltons. And secondly, I feel like I'm moving the needle forward against the competition, which is the main thing. We did a deal this morning that you would have seen. That was a contract QA vacancy that we posted around 10 days ago. You might have seen in last week's episode how many applicants I said that we get. I think we had 525 for this. Worked my way through all of those. And the good news is this person that accepted the offer, we found him through the advert. So it just goes to show it is a lot of time investment, but it can pay off if your advert is good enough. Outside of that, I managed to help out Kyle, with a few things, a couple of emails and creating some LinkedIn talent pool reports. He's very close to bringing on some new business with a prospect. We actually sent the terms of business on Friday. Didn't hear back, so we've put together some talent pool reports on the niche skill set that he's looking for and explaining why it might be difficult to find. I don't think many other recruiters make use of talent insights. Whenever we speak to clients, we always ask if they've ever had any reports on data and what the market's like, and they say no, so we've been using that to our advantage recently. Continued updating Atlas because we're migrating over from Job Adder, and started the systems and processes for the new starter Bailey. You'd think I'd be going home to rest considering it's bank holiday, but I'm going home to refuel. I'm gonna have some lunch and then head to a coffee shop for a couple of hours. I'll then come back to the apartment this evening, finalize those systems and processes and probably do a screen record so you can see what I've put together. I want to let him know his targets and how he can be rewarded if he hits those targets. And I can wrap up Monday, a nice productive Monday with a deal before we head into Tuesday. It's 3:41, and one of the main reasons why I love working a bank holiday, as you would have seen today, is the flexibility. I managed to get 3 productive hours in the office. I then come home for some lunch, went to a coffee shop for 2.5 hours, and now I'm home for the last hour of the day, just finalizing a few things. And I wanted to walk you through 2 of the documents that I've put together for the new starter. As you would have seen here is Bailey's Google Drive. The yearly plan is one of the most important ones for me. So I will be sending this to Bailey today and asking him to complete it before he starts. I put this document together myself. I've had no extra help. So the questions might seem unusual to some people or maybe cool to other people, hopefully cool. But this is a document where I can find out a bit more about Bailey's moral compass, more importantly, to see what he wants to achieve and what his expectations are for himself and how he's going to measure that, you know. And also you'll see at the bottom, how would he like support from me? Tough question to answer if he hasn't started, but if he knows that he prefers, you know, extra training or needs to get out and network some more, you know, we can be aware of that. So this is a really important document for him to complete. You know, that will really help me understand what I need to do to help him achieve his goals. The second document, which I still have a little bit of work to do on, is the expectations and targets for year 1. So as you'll see here, he will be coming into the business as a consultant, and I'm sure he'll be looking to move into a senior consultant position as soon as he can. But not just the financial targets is what we look for when looking to promote people. It's also the non-financial goals as well. You know, things like bringing on new business reviews, 5-star reviews, pitching different services. So we've got retained, exclusive and RAS, which we will be looking for him to pitch successfully. So expectations are quite high. I'm sure they won't mind me sharing that Kyle and Bailey both took a pay cut to come and join this business, which I'm very grateful for and very proud that they've made that decision. I work tirelessly and relentlessly to achieve my own goals, and I also support other people in the same relentless way. So, you know, what you will miss out on in financial gain, which is, you know, a few £1,000s, you will certainly make up for in other areas of your life. That said, I promised Kyle that if he hit the criteria on the screen now, within 3 months, I would give him a pay rise, and he did. And I've made the same promise to Bailey. If he hits these goals, which are to have brought on 1 new client, 15 sales calls a week, made 1 deal, 180 new companies on the system, and set up and attended 2 meetings, arguably, they're not that difficult, but with it being his first role in recruitment, you know, they're quite ambitious. But if he does, I'm going to give him a pay rise, just like I gave Kyle a pay rise. Tomorrow should be quite exciting. Hello. No, he's starting next week, which is, very exciting. So I've got to say, a lot of the work yesterday was just building out some systems and processes for him. I've refreshed the ones that I did for Kyle, which really helped, you know, just like sheets on how to speak to people, how to do meetings. I cold called them, then sent over documents, and they liked them, and we followed up, and we haven't agreed something specific. We've had to flex a little bit, but we brought in some business since sending it out. And when Kyle sent out some terms of business on Friday, that was from an email where he sent the document and they were interested as well. So it's working, it's getting some interest. Yeah, that's what we're going for. And the other things, you know, the entrepreneurs in residence, the people analytics, which is going to be coming on next month, fractional NED appointments as well, and then like the media and marketing, you know, to do day in the life for the clients, the keynote speaking, podcast. Yeah, there's loads of different things. And that traditional recruitment, where it's just bums on seats, is just one small cog in that machine. I think that's one of the reasons why we post so consistently on LinkedIn, not just for clients, but also potential candidates to join the business. Sounds good. Appreciate your time, Thank you very much. That was my 1 hour meeting with Adrian that we have twice a month. Great way to start the week after a bank holiday to get my head in the game, think clearly about the week ahead. But without further ado, let's go see Kyle upstairs and hit the phones. Good morning. On the phone. Mm-hmm. You've got 4 new business meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I thought you meant like new target.
No. Same targets as last week, but you've got 4 new business meetings, which is exciting. Good morning, it's Kieran. I am very, very, very good today. I wanted to check because I haven't been copied in on the invites this morning. Are you still booked in for today at 10 o'clock on Hub 3? How are you feeling? I bet. Yeah, well, that's, you know, we're not looking for that just here. So it sounds like your well-roundedness is going to be a bonus. So do you have any questions for me? Can I help out in any way at all? If the first one's at 10 to 11, do you want to send me a WhatsApp and just let me know how it went? Yeah, I'm very eager to hear. So I wish you the best of luck, and I will speak to you later today. It's Kieran O'Connor. So I thought I'd just call to hear it verbally to make sure everything was okay with the document that you signed yesterday. Yeah, all right, so I'll take the lead on this then. So I'll email him saying, can you guys get in touch about a contract, potential equipment, and then what to expect on the first day. And if you need anything in the meantime, just text or call me, but if not, I'll probably speak to you tomorrow afternoon to make sure everything's come through. Speak to you soon, bye. Oh, we've just picked up our new meal prep. I have gone through every meal prep company in South Wales, by the way. Trying the Healthy Hangout, which is based in Cardiff, nicely prepared. We've got chicken katsu rice bowl ×3, lean turkey sweet chili noodles, and then 3 big flatbreads with Cajun chicken on, I think. A bit expensive, but I eat a lot of food and I haven't got enough time to cook all this food. So I'm going to be reviewing this as the week goes on. Anyone that's local in Cardiff, the Healthy Hangout. I will have one in about half hour. Before that, more calls. Hello, you all right? See, how's things? How was your bank holiday first and foremost? Anything nice? Yeah, pretty good. Lots of fitness, just running and gymming. That seems to be every weekend at the minute. Yeah, it's really, really good. I know I don't need to tell you this. And it's not trying to convince you otherwise, just my honest opinion that it's always offset with the lack of career or personal growth, So if you want to plan for your future, and it's great for some people, it really is. If that's important to people, then there's no better place. But if someone wants to grow and work through the ranks and take more responsibility, public sector sometimes isn't the best place. The only other person is booked in for the final stage, and they are booked in for the same date that we spoke about last week, which is next Tuesday the 3rd. Because it's been some time since you've spoken to them, I personally think it would be a good idea to sort of reconfirm what you're looking forward to, and maybe some things that you've done in the meantime about looking into some extra tools that you spoke about in the interview. I think that would go down really, really well. It would be a short email, but that's completely up to you. It really is. I think that would be, I genuinely haven't recommended that often at all. But I just think in this situation, because you're interested and I want to move it forward, I think that would go down really well. So we're on the way to Newport. I have booked 2 podcasts in today. This is the first time I've done 2 in one day. So obviously I have to have a new tonic, but I'm hopeful my cognitive function will pull through and I can give 2 very good podcasts. I don't see it happening any other way. It's absolutely hammering down in South Wales, but I've got my sunglasses on because I have reframed the situation. When I get onto the motorway, when I do my 5-minute talk across to Newport, I'm going to talk about an NLP tool, neuro-linguistic programming tool called reframing, which I use every single day to help me remain positive and see the good in every situation. Today, I am interviewing Laura Gemmell. Laura's coming on at 12 to 1. She is the founder of Taught by Humans. She is making tech and data, information and training accessible to everyone, a very wholesome movement. After that, I am interviewing Kevin Smith. Kevin is the founder of Venture Comet. He had a successful exit back last year, or maybe the year before, of a company called Credus. He successfully exited the business officially on a Friday, and by Monday, he'd already started his new startup called Venture Comet. So they are a platform and a product that helps early stage companies get their due diligence all in one place to make them investment ready. That's a very time consuming process for companies to get all that in place and in time. So this is a product which keeps it all in one place and it continually updates, so you can use that when you're going out to investment. Of course, the sun is nowhere to be seen, but we still come to the podcast with gifts. So we've got our Repower Daily Electrolytes. I've already had mine this morning. 8 sachets in all 8 flavors and a free bottle for both the guests, which have gone down really, really well. Reframing, the NLP tool I mentioned earlier in the video. So about 5, maybe even 7 years ago now, I read a book called NLP for Dummies after I was introduced to neuro-linguistic programming for a few books. And I read that book from start to finish. It's a huge book, but it really is for dummies because it tells you all of the concepts and it breaks them down into very actionable and easy to understand steps. NLP tools are systems and processes that you can set up within yourself to rewire your brain and rewire any bad habits. You might think that you're present and you're in control every single day, but I'm guaranteed you, just like me, if I look back, a lot of the things that we do are the same. They're called habits. And those habits very rarely change. We naturally default to what we know, and that is almost certainly on an autopilot. So the one that I use every single day is called reframing. So reframing is where you become consciously aware of how you have reacted to a decision and how you can reframe that to, number one, feel better about yourself, number two, get the best outcome for the situation, and number three, move forward in the best way. Final example, to make it even more relatable to the video I did last week. So I had a phone call where I lost £40,000 worth of pipeline in one call. Rather than use that as a negative and go into my shell, I reframed it and seen it as an opportunity to win some new business. That happened on a Friday. That following week, I've brought on a new startup based in Silicon Valley. I've spoken to the founder, and you would have seen early today, the candidate has his final stage interview, which will be our biggest fee ever. That's a simple reframing. Most people could see that as a real negative, go into their shell and go for a pint on lunch or maybe something else. You've got to reframe it quickly. So that's reframing. It can be used in any area, pretty much anything. Be aware that you can change all these natural reactions. It's not easy, but nothing is. But for now, try and implement some reframing and let me know how you get on. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
Yeah, it was quite casual, I'd say. He didn't interject a lot.
I think that's a good thing. Well done.
Thank you.
If we were being honest with each other, you said you got 90% done. How well did you think you did? Let's say out of 10.
I would say like an 8.
I'm sure your 8 out of 10 is like a 10 out of 10. Maybe you're just being hard on yourself. That sounds very fair. I appreciate the honesty. So I wish you the best of luck for your second interview, and we can get some feedback for you tomorrow. Good luck. Have a great day.
Have a lovely day.
See ya. That was the candidate who has 2 final stages in one day for the company that I brought on a couple of weeks ago now. Their interview process is quite interesting. It was the first stage with the founder. The second stage was a 1-hour interview that was split into 4 15-minute. This was the third stage, and this was a interactive test. That was at 10 to 11, and then he's got the final stage at 3:30 until 4:30, and then that's it. That's the final stage is done, and we'll find out if this is our biggest deal ever or if I've hyped this up. So this is it, make or break. But 10 minutes away from the podcast studio before I sit down with Laura, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Ollie. Hi, working with us today. And this is the first podcast I've done where it's raining. That's twice as high as I've ever done. So.
Yeah, twice as high as any in the UK, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Well done. Just carry on. What were you saying?
I say, yeah, I've got a nice week this week.
If that was up to me, I'd be working all day. I don't know when to stop. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is it.
Hello, it's Kieran O'Connor. Feels like ages since we spoke, so I just wanted to recap on a few things. How did your current company take it? Were they expecting it, or a little bit gutted? Yeah, sounds like a mutually good part, and then come at the right time. But I'll certainly be in closer contact around the start date, if that's all right with you. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'll speak to you very soon. See ya. Bye bye. So, what's the plan? Are you going to reply to this email?
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay to reply to it, and then I'll review it with you?
Sounds good.
It's got to be a very carefully worded and well-placed email. So go ahead. Put your best reply together and let's see what you get. What do you rate it out of 10?
7. I'd say the bit which I've done well is just get straight to the point and trying to push for a meeting.
The thing I keep telling you to do, which will help you, is to read it back as if you're the person receiving it, right? 50 odd people, right? CEO. How would you react to that email if you've seen it? You literally have to think as if you're a CEO. I see that, and there's no incentive for me to say yes. Yeah. So what have I done? What's different? I've mirrored. Yeah. What word has he used? The business is not rushing into anything right now. So what have I said? Not being in a rush is a good place to be. If they've got time to make a decision, they should check out our YouTube to see the week in the lives and how we work. And then you would hyperlink those company names so they can go to the website and check them out, and they can verify for themselves that they're startups. How do you feel about the bottom part? Well, I've told them what's in it for them. Yeah. So I've said a chat would be helpful for us both. So he sees that and he reads it, he thinks, right, they're fair play, they're not rushing me. Well, they've worked with companies and they're going to show us how they do it. Cool. There's a bit more incentive to come back and book a meeting from that.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're the first person to get to the 4th stage interview. Yeah. So how did it go? Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. How do you feel about the opportunity now? You've met how many different people? 3 different people. You've had 4 interviews. You know a lot about the company. I'll give them a call at about 6:30 tonight, and then I will send you a message tomorrow, and I can share hopefully the positive feedback with you. You too. See you later. Bye-bye. That was the call that I've been looking forward to. So that is the candidate's 4th stage interview. He had 2 final stages today. The best news is that he's interested. 7:21 and there is no sun outside, but I am wearing my sunglasses in the office again. I have also woken up to this text message. I'm not sure how I feel about it, and I'm honestly not sure what the outcome will be. But I guess this is the week where we find out if I do my biggest deal ever in recruitment and the biggest deal we've done since being in business. Before I show you the text, a quick outfit check. I am wearing grey from head to toe. I've got grey shoes, grey trousers, and a grey t-shirt. I couldn't help but look in the mirror on the way, and the first person I thought of was Morgan Freeman from Bruce Almighty, and now I can't unsee it. So that's the vibe we're going for today. The text you will see on screen by here is from the founder. The feedback that you can see, the candidate had 2 final stage interviews and he did fine and okay. That's not what we want to hear. I'm gonna have to speak to the founder to get some more feedback because, you know, a short message like that just isn't enough. I should hope that this candidate's one of the top. He's absolutely incredible. You know, the mathematical background, algorithmic trader, he's absolutely exceptional. So I hope we find out today, if not certainly this week, on if we are gonna move forward with this placement, and I am excited. Okay, so training today, we normally do it on a Monday, bank holiday, so we missed it. You've got a meeting today and the company aren't actively recruiting, is that right?
Correct.
Cool, so I thought today might be a good idea just to cover a high-level overview of what you want to get out of the meeting when they're not recruiting, yeah? Completely different to when they are recruiting. The first thing...
Set expectations.
Cool. Secondly, what format do we follow to find out information?
Past, present, future.
Yeah, that's really, really important on this one as well. PPP. It's very clever because they all start with P.
Triple P.
Yeah, triple Ps. We don't want to ask in-depth questions. We want to ask an overview of questions. We just want to scratch the surface. So once you get some information, for example, how have you recruited before? Oh, we used an agency. Okay, what was the service like? Yeah, really, really bad. We might not use it again. You might ask one more question and then you move on to like, what do you want out of an agency? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last thing I want you to be aware of today is high-level overview questions rather than in-depth.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to come off this call with a lot of information about different areas, particularly what they've done in the past, what they're doing right now, and what their ideal future looks like. Cool. What stuff do you want to know about the past?
How have you recruited before?
Yeah. So how have they recruited? Yeah. Anything else?
What was the process like?
What was the experience? Yeah. When? Really, really important. When was the last time they recruited?
Yeah. Who or what roles did they recruit for?
Yeah. So you got how, what, when, who. The only other one that is there is why. Why would be like the last one we'd ask.
Okay.
So these 5 things. Did I say it was PPP? PPP. It's very clever because they all start with P.
They all start with P.
Right, it's PPF. Right, past, present, future. Present. A really good question I picked up from Tim Ferriss. What's front of mind for you at the minute? Talk to me about right now. What's front of mind? The only other thing that I would probably want to find out now, challenges. Yeah, so by telling a short story before, you create trust. So when you say, what's your challenges, you're unlikely to get a good response. Future, most important part, what do you want to be asking?
Hiring plans for the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, good. Hiring plans. Mm-hmm. So there's planned recruitment, yeah, where they'll be like, yeah, we've got planned recruitment for July, we're going to hire 3 people and that's it. And then there's unplanned recruitment. Any examples of what unplanned recruitment would be?
Someone leaving.
Someone leaving. I'm not just going to keep in touch for July, I'm also going to look at any leavers in the business as well. What? Yeah, most of these are transferable. So this is where you just want to get creative. Yeah, you just want to find out and get them to think and talk openly. So what do they want? Let's imagine, and these are cool words to use, yeah? Let's imagine, hypothetically, let's just pretend is a good one. You know, you give us an opportunity, what do you want from us? How? So you've said you're recruiting in July, you want somebody who works harder. You know, I think I'm that person. How do we work together? What's the process? Oh, well, we just share vacancies and okay, cool. Like if they've not got no process, that's when you can sort of go into a bit of a sell, if you've got time, about the projects that we set up and how we attract candidates, yeah? So at the end of this 15 minutes, there should be 5 where you could do a light sell. Just ask questions about them. 80% of the time they want to be speaking, 20% you want to be speaking, and speak about yourself as little as possible. This is their time. This is their time. This is where you go into doctor mode and you just ask questions. What's worked? Why hasn't it worked? What do you want to do? What's the problems? Little time on this, most time on this. Any questions? Bish, bash, bosh.
Labash.
I'm very good, thanks, and you? You know, when we were meant to meet last week, I was actually going to be really late, so I decided to do a calculated risk and park on double yellows. Thank you. I just didn't want to be late. Yeah, no expectations really. He seemed to think that a few introductions that he's made would be worthwhile for me to meet those people. You must know Adrian pretty well. He's come onto our board. Yeah, if there's any sort of value add to either party, great. If not, it's cool, you know, to meet and also broaden the network. So I guess you can start. I'd love to know a bit more about your background. It sounds like there'll be the investments that you're doing is there's more complexities, different investors already on board. There's different shareholders who want different things, and as you said, people's risk appetite changes over time. You know, they might want something different 5 years down the line to what they did previously. Because I speak to founders, startups, SMEs daily, and you know we always get different feedback on the market at the minute for raising investment, raising capital at any stage. How are you seeing it from your side? Yeah, but it's always been recruitment for me. I am obsessed with the industry. I'm obsessed with changing perceptions. I don't know if you see any of my content, and I'm obsessed with proving that this is a professional industry. And I think Mark and Adrian coming on board at such an early stage is the intent to what I'm telling them that I'm doing. The other thing we're pushing really, really hard is the content. So we've got our YouTube, we have a podcast, and we are raising the awareness of startups and founders and high growth companies actually in South Wales. So, yeah, and I think there's a tendency to see asking recruiters for advice or support as a weakness. We want to break that barrier down and be an extension of businesses and say, hey, we'll support, we bridge that gap. You know, we are forefront of the market. We speak to people daily. It would make sense to gain some advice off us at least. If you have some time, it'd be good for maybe me, you and Mark, potentially Adrian, to get some lunch. I'll happily take us all out in Cardiff and like finalise what our positioning is, and then you can keep that in the back of your mind for whenever the time is right. Does that sound like a plan? That's good. And if you ever need anything short, quick answer, a bit of advice on email, just fire it over and I'm more than happy to help. That was my first meeting of the day. I met one of the lead investors at a active equity investor that are based all over the UK. That was an introduction through Adrian, so thank you very much. They actively invest in a number of different companies. They're a little bit different to some of the VC firms that we deal with. They invest at a later stage. There was a huge value add for us, you know, speaking to them. I think long term, there'll be something there for us. I'm just putting together our pitch deck and the different services that we're offering. And I offered to take them for lunch in July, which they said yes. So that was a very good meeting. Over there, Kyle is on a new business meeting today. He's meeting a CRO of a startup, around 30 employees. No recruitment at the minute, but that's when we really enjoy speaking to people. We are working proactively rather than reactively. So far, a productive morning, and I'm going for lunch in about 2 hours.
Okay, perfect. Once we get off the call, I'll get that across to you. Really appreciate your time. It was great speaking with you.
That sounded very good. I think you followed that, what we spoke about earlier, to a T, didn't you? You got a meeting booked in for next steps. As far as that goes, mate, that was 10-10, I think. You sounded better. There was structure to it. You kept it high level, and now you've come off the call and you're eager to tell me everything. Whereas before, I'm asking you questions, it's like, well, I don't know that. If we didn't send that email this morning in that way, you wouldn't have turned up. Nice. In the pipeline. 2 more business meetings this week, isn't there?
Yeah.
So you can use that exact same framework, exact same point of reference for those as well. Yeah. Hello, it's Kieran O'Connor. Just a brief one, I emailed you last week, but I wanted to see if there's been any more documents sent your way. Have you been asked to complete anything since we last spoke? How's the handover going with work? Yeah, okay, sounds good. So it's all in process and you don't need me for anything just yet. I'll speak to you sometime soon. Right, that's it. That's lunchtime done. Hour and a half out the office. I need to get back and do some BD, some business development. I went to Pasture, as you would have seen from the B-roll. That was my first time going to Pasture. One of the nicest, if not the nicest steakhouse restaurant in Cardiff. I'm doing content, don't people understand? That contact is a close friend of mine now. So we initially met as a recruitment relationship. He was a hiring manager. He's contributed to 3 of the companies in my portfolio at the minute and we still actively recruit for. On top of that, he referred me into a company which he didn't have to do and we didn't ask for, and we've since done 3 placements. And what better way to build a stronger relationship and reward someone for that than taking them to a nice restaurant. So I really enjoyed that, and you cannot put a price on Relationships, getting out of the office, meeting people face to face, and letting them know that you're grateful. I looked him in the eyes and said that I am genuinely grateful for the introductions and everything he's done for me in the business. That's enough time out of the office. I'm hitting the phone for 2 hours straight. We got some BD call coaching to wrap up the day. Also, Kyle's got a final stage interview at 5:30. He will likely hear back tomorrow. If he gets it, that's him hitting target and we're going out. Champagne and cigars. If he doesn't, it's pot noodles for lunch. So I guess we'll find out later today. But for now, I'm hitting the phones. Hello, it's Kieran O'Connor here, calling from a company called Place. Have you been in a fortunate position to hire recently, this year? Oh, you have? Okay, cool, that's good news. Have you used an external partner to help with that? The final thing from me then, thinking ahead for the rest of the year, you've hired a few people already. Do you have any more planned recruitment? Not technical. You suggesting there might be something in different areas of the business? Do you have an external agency that you can rely on at the minute? A couple of them. And I guess you're probably against any new relationships at this stage. Last question then, you mentioned maybe some hiring later in the year. What sort of time are you thinking so I can keep an eye out on any updates on LinkedIn? Post-September. Okay, cool. Well, I'll keep an eye out on the company page to see any vacancies and good luck in the meantime. Hello, it's Kieran O'Connor here, calling from a company called Place. Oh, you spoke to my colleague, I'm the director of the business. You had a good conversation pretty much about recruitment. It was a good 15-minute call actually, and you gave us loads of information and said it'd be good to make contact around June, July time for a recruitment perspective. We only exclusively work with technology companies, so software, data, cloud, AI and product. Oh, okay, yeah, probably a little bit far away from what we do. Yeah, we're not going to be best for that, but the other stuff that you mentioned sounds quite interesting. That's going to be later this year, at the very earliest, maybe next year. So I really appreciate your time. I'll support on LinkedIn and then maybe I'll speak to you sometime later in the year or next year, certainly. Yeah, cool. I appreciate the honesty. You have a great afternoon. That was a decent call. It's Wednesday, 4 p.m. on the dot, and it's BD call coaching. Right, let's get into it then. See your first one.
Is that because you're not currently hiring, or is it because you don't like working with agencies?
We do work with agencies, so yeah, we're not hiring.
There's no hiring going on at the moment. So
No,
when was the last time you did hire?
Just a while ago.
Okay, how did the process go?
Fine, just direct contractors, our direct contacts.
I'm glad that it went well. And is there any planned recruitment now for the next 6 to 12 months?
Not at the moment, no. Yeah.
Would you say that you're against new agency relationships at the moment?
It's just not something that we're quite happy with who we use, so it's not something that we want to spend time and resources on finding new partners and things like that. Yeah,
that's
may change in the future, but it's just where we are. We're a small business, so but we're okay where we are at the moment, mate. But maybe something in the future.
That wasn't a bad call.
Do you not think?
No.
I thought it was terrible. You got... I'd say, especially at the beginning, I was very, quite assertive, and he was just a bit, confused. And yeah, I just felt like all the questions were off. There was no bridging statements, it was just, straight into it.
I think you've been hard on yourself there. It definitely wasn't bad. Tough call. He's not giving you anything, he's giving nothing. So I think the only good thing I put was kept on phone, and there wasn't many bad things either. It's just like an average call. Just like an average call, but not in a very good way or a very bad way. The bad thing I picked up on was your breath. Not the smelly breath, but
thanks.
The smell it through the phone. When you say a question and you got this, I hear it. Listen.
That's not me, that's him. Nah, that's him.
That's you.
Nah,
that's when you do you're breathing in. How did it go? Wait, do it again.
That's not me, that's him.
It's you. Honestly, it's you. I promise you, it's you. I told you I can hear it over there. They can definitely hear it. The mic's here. Average question, boring answer. There wasn't any storytelling. I don't know.
I don't know how I would have story told him.
I would have just been you could have been a bit more creative with like getting some stories in there, like other companies we spoke to, which you normally do. It's not like you don't do that.
Yeah.
But that was a horrifically boring call. He was very tough, and you made it tougher by asking. You matched his tone towards the end. So, mate, that wasn't a very good or a very bad one. That sits in the middle, and I think it was.
I'll take that.
It was a decent call. That was actually a decent call. Yeah.
You suggested it'd be a good time to call back towards the beginning of June. You said you might have some plans to bring in some external people to the business.
Yeah, still not in a position really. We've actually found a way to stay reasonably lean in the process as well. perhaps even Q1 next year. But as of right now, there's no immediate need.
You said you found a way to stay incredibly lean. There's some sort of secret I'm missing.
It's AI, effectively. Yeah, it's AI.
Yeah. And is it still just 3 of you at the moment? You mentioned before.
It is just the 3 of us, yeah. And as a tech company, we'll look at the technology-based solutions. So I think even a COO these days would be somebody with technical capabilities that can look at operationalizing the business.
Yeah, it's exciting next 12 months, but also a scary one. You know how fast it's moving. We're connected on LinkedIn anyway, so I'll keep an eye out for any sort of tips you share. I'll give you a call later in the year. But
Thoughts? I didn't really have anything negative to say about it. Knew everything that you needed to know. It wasn't going to go much further. Didn't invest too much time into it, which is probably a good thing. The bridging statement was really good at the beginning, especially with sort of the AI, because that opened him right up. Yeah, so the active listening.
The only bad thing I put at the end of it, and I thought I did ask it, is I didn't clarify. I know you said Q4, they might look at something, I didn't clarify when the next steps would be. Good time to give him a call back, and I always do that. I said I'll give him a call later in the year, but I could have been specific about what he was hiring. The good points, the 4 things. Number 1 was I was to the point. He was definitely speaking for at least 80% of that versus 20%. And then that little thing, I've only just put a word for it, but you said it, when I mentioned about the external pressure from the VCs, I just reconfirmed, like mid-sentence, I've seen a gap and I was like, yeah, the external pressures, and then he went on again for another minute or 2. Rather than coming in with like a full sentence or, a story, you can just reconfirm in one thing, like a couple of words. Yeah, fairly average call. Fairly average, just above average maybe for...
I think it was a good prospecting call though. It's like,
it's definitely
there were much more that you could have done on that call.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, those calls you just got to have.
Like, you could have kept him on the phone, but would you have gained much more information?
That's the end of call coaching. The time is 4:20 on the dot.
4:20.
4:20. Right, that's it. We got to wrap up, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thursday already, and I am not feeling the sharpest this morning. I thought I'd do a spin to grab some attention there. There's a number of reasons. Number 1 is because I rest on a Thursday. It's my planned rest day, and I look forward to it. So I never feel as energetic if I don't go to the gym or do some sort of physical exercise before work. The bigger reason is because I still think it's a wise idea at the ripe age of 30 to train at 5:30 in the morning on Wednesday, and then hit Easy Run Club on a Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Yesterday we did 6 1,200 meters, and I put myself in Group A, and there's some very, very fast guys and girls in Group A, and I hold on for dear life at the back of Group A. It feels like I've got a parachute on my back, and that fatigue carries over to this morning. But we're always productive. Electrolytes, obviously. If fortune is with us, we may be getting an offer today. Kyle had a final stage interview last night, 5:30. The gentleman went down to site, went really well from his perspective. So I'm very hopeful for that. Outside of that, we've got a new business meeting, lots of BD again. So, although I'm not feeling the best, it's still going to be a productive day. Yeah, Josh, the interview went well yesterday, you said. I did hear the voice note, obviously.
Very casual. They talked about what he was looking for in a sales team. And I asked him if he asked you any specific questions. He said not really. He said it was just more of like back and forth conversation. He said that he bought into the vision and he's like really been like sold it. He said he knows it's going to be hard work. He said there's lots of long-term benefits and the growth element is like a big factor for him.
And then you did a trial close as well, which I heard, yeah? I'll put an email across and wait for their feedback. Good morning. Josh thought it went very, very well. It's not going to be an easy yes, but we're still confident we can get him over the line. So yeah, give me a shout if you want me to put it on email, but if not, yeah, it's good, he's interested. And I'll send you a WhatsApp text to let you know where we need to be at financially. Well, thank you very much for coming back to my message. Still, we could have a chat to find out what's going on and if, this role that we've got might be suitable. Because I noticed you recently started at a new company. You've recently joined, and what's the reason maybe you're looking for something else already? So we're just doing some first stage calls at the minute. There's a couple of people already in the interview. And I'll then speak to the founder of the company and see if they're still looking to get any more people in the process. And you can let me know your feedback on the job description. Does that sound okay? Sounds good. All right, appreciate your time. Thanks. I'm very good, thanks. And you? How are you feeling about next week's interview? You still engaged and excited? Well, I'll give you a call on Monday, the day before, so we can go over some last minute prep together. I can sort of give you a few pointers about what to expect. And in terms of you and the other candidate, you're very identical in terms of like years of experience, almost same stack. I'll speak to you on Monday. Right, Kyle's got a meeting in 15 minutes with quite a large company. Kyle's meeting the MD. We're going to go over some key bits of information which I found online to help him tailor some very, very specific questions if he hasn't found them already.
Identified that they've got 13 live vacancies at the moment. Structured my notes into the past, present and future. And then I've also just got the main 3 notes from our last conversation with the MD.
All good. So this is great yesterday. It worked really well, right? So if you open up LinkedIn Recruiter, type in recruit and the keywords. Cool. So how many people there?
4.
The only one we care about is the top one. So we've got an internal recruiter who is open to work. So the better question would be, I'm aware through some research that you've got an internal recruiter. There's a few ways you can answer. What's the pros and cons of working with an internal recruiter? Or what's the relationship been like between you and the internal recruiter for the recent vacancies? You've only got 30 minutes on this one. There's 2 big points. So rather than how do you recruit, I've been doing lots of research this morning. I noticed that you've got a lead recruiter. Because I noticed you've got 16, one person can't do 16 vacancies in Europe, America and the UK. That'll either go one or 2 ways. Not so good. We're actually looking at different options at the minute to help them. Oh, they're amazing. They feel pretty much everything apart from the complex stuff. So that's the first bit of huge information. They've got an internal recruiter who's actually recently open to work, which we're going to use to our advantage. Compared to the meeting yesterday where Kyle asked very good, open questions, we're going to hyper-fixate it down and show we've done a lot of research here. So they hired a CTO only 4 months ago. Why would someone hire a CTO?
They're probably going to level up on their tech, or they want someone to take control of
exactly
that side of the business.
So tech is obviously a priority. The CTO coming in is going to be making changes, either saving money, increasing productivity, maybe some AI tools or like more headcount, and then getting rid of bad performers. That's the most important question actually. So we'll talk about the recruiters first. What's worked, what hasn't. Depends on how you want to approach this, but I would say like, how's the last few months been with a new executive, or what sort of impact has that person made so far? So, when we talk about sitting on topics, those 2 topics you want to sit on. Because you will get so much information learning about the internal recruiter. Number 1, you might have to partner with them. Number 2, it might be their decision. And then the CTO just coming in, how involved is he? He's obviously higher ranking than the MD. Do we need an introduction? If it feels right, don't ask it in a weird way. But you'd be surprised, and this is from my actual own learnings, how many times I don't ask and it delays the process. We get the vacancies anyway. Here's what we can do. Can we start working with you straight away? Can we support straight away? Who do we need to be introduced to? I spoke about yesterday about there's obviously a reason why people say to meet us. Huge reason. Recruiters open to work, hired a CTO, and you probably caught them at the right time. So some good prep from Kyle. He was going in with the same approaches as of yesterday, which is not a bad idea, but it's not the best way of doing it. Yesterday they had no vacancies. They actually tried to cancel the meeting 45 minutes before. We sent a good email across, explained it'd be like a review of the processes, and that meeting was really, really good. This one, they've got 17 open vacancies. The recruiter's open to work. They've just hired a CTO. It's a completely different structure from this one, and we need to go in very well prepared to let them know that we know what's going on. And we're going to hard close. We're going to ask to see if we can support an internal recruiter doing 16 vacancies in Europe, Middle East, America. Yeah, it's unrealistic. So I've got a meeting downstairs. I'm leaving Carl to do this on his own. And if we're lucky, we'll come up and Carl's closed all 16 and we've got some new vacancies to work on. Bosh.
In the UK, or is it globally?
Like a proud dad. Absolutely killer meeting, expectation setting. Some good questions, tonality's on point. Yeah, that's going to be a good meeting. I'm on the way downstairs for mine, meet the CEO of a startup founder, which I'll talk more about when I get to Kearnilk, and I need a coffee. I am meeting the CEO and founder of a tech startup here in Cardiff. We've actually met 3 times before. This is the 4th, and they've asked to meet me. We actually haven't done any recruitment for this company, but we've helped with strategy, advice, and just general sounding board for what the market is like. And he's here right now. Back upstairs at lunchtime, burrito for this new meal prep company. That was a really good meeting. Spent an hour and 15 minutes with that person. I nearly said his name then. He is going through a lot of changes within the business, a few positive, a few difficult ones. I actually gave him some advice as well. He asked for a bit of advice on how we work with our advisors and how they can get the best out of their advisors. Still no immediate recruitment. I'm unsure if there will ever be any recruitment with this company, but it's not about that. It's about helping someone out when they need a bit of help. We've also introduced him to our fractional creative director, Joe. Joe, editing this video. He wants to be doing some marketing, but but didn't know where to look, and that's exactly why we brought Joe on board. So Joe can help us, but more importantly, can help the people that we work with. So all in all, very productive meeting. I'm gonna smash this burrito and then we're hitting sales again. Good afternoon, it's Kieran O'Connor. We worked together for a number of years. We messaged a couple of months back and I know that you were actively pursuing new roles, and my curiosity got the better of me. How's the job search been? Have you managed to find anything? I suppose you doing the contract stuff at the minute, are you involved in any recruitment processes with the companies you're at? I think it's been worth keeping in contact every couple of months, send you a message, see what's going on in your world and if there might be any opportunities to collab. Glad you've got something. I'll keep you up to date with anything on our end as well, executive level, whether that's contract or perm, and then likewise I'll keep in contact for the opposite end of the spectrum, and if there's any recruitment on your side, I'd love to work together again at some point. So I appreciate your time. Have a great afternoon. See you. This is a complete call out of the blue, but I'm calling for a very, very specific reason. One of their star performers has exclusively instructed us as an agent to look for new opportunities. He gave me a list of 5 companies that he would like to be represented to. One of them, and here I am acting as an agent, seeing if there might be any introductions and any openings. Actually, I found your details online. I thought you might be a good point of call. I thought that would be the case. I appreciate the honesty. Just before I do that, what do you think the appetite with the? I've seen lots of vacancies online. Do you think there might be an appetite to bring in someone from a competitor? Yeah, no. I appreciate your honesty. Cheers. Bye bye. To do that, we had a good conversation around recruitment, telling you some of the companies that we work with. Lots of crossovers. I've reminded you, yeah. We were cool around beginning of June time. We spoke about a marketing hire, maybe sales, but I think marketing was the focus. Here I am, seeing if there might be any updates to you from your side. Sounds fair. So the conversation we're having quite a lot. I guess final question then, we're also hearing from other people that, projects and pipeline and business wins are taking longer than ever. Things that are expected to close are being pushed months and months back. Is that the same thing that's happening here, or are these definitely closable? Yeah, happy for me to give you a call. Where are we now? Beginning of June, mid-July, end of July, so we can share some more updates. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate the honesty and the update. And have a good afternoon. Speak to you soon. That's a definite vacancy coming in, but that's not till July. Very good. What about you? So in terms of extra recruitment this year, is there anything that's planned? Cool. All right, sounds really good. If there's anything in the meantime, feedback or conversations you'd like us to have with any of the starters that we onboarded, then let us know. But if not, me and you will speak maybe later in the year. I think that sounds good. It's Kieran O'Connor, down in Cardiff. I appreciate the support on the posts, it means a lot. Yeah, I'm fairly consistent on there. What's the latest on the work front for you? Still moving forward, fundraising, what's the latest? Is this what they call a pivot, a potential pivot? Absolutely. Well, good to catch up. I'm glad you and the family are well, and I'll be supporting the journey from afar as I always do. And I'm sure we'll cross paths again before the end of the year, maybe the next few months. You seem nervous.
I'm not nervous.
But I'm starting to get a bit shaky, I'm a little bit weak.
Right, I'm putting Kyle on the spot. Who do we have starting on Monday?
Bailey,
and he has no recruitment experience at all. You have to do Bailey's first week of training. This is serious because the first 5 days of his recruitment career, you're in charge of his training. And we turn the camera around on you.
2 hours later.
Kyle seems to be stuck on Friday at the minute. It's a hard task, to be fair. It is a hard task. Talk us through
what's going through my head.
The 5 days. What have you picked for Monday?
So I picked candidate combos because we're going to want to get them on the phone and start having conversations so we can learn the industry. This is important because if we do get any roles on and
when you say this is important, the camera can't see that far.
Identify good candidates.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't want to be submitting terrible candidates to our clients, and if we need extra help on resourcing, then Bailey's going to have to be able to identify what a good candidate looks like, and if he speaks to them, then he also needs to be able to identify the soft skills and if we can actually put them forward or not, just to save us time. This is obviously going to come later on down the line, but knowing who our ICP are, so he can start building out his prospect lists himself and start learning the companies that we work with. Understanding terms, we need to understand the terms and how we can't share CVs with prospects unless we actually got this in place. And then core values.
So you're 100% happy with those 5?
I'm pretty confident. I think that's a good week. For someone who's hasn't got any recruitment experience.
So that's the training then. So we have just documented the success or the failure of a new starter. And if he doesn't work out, we're coming back to this video on the 29th of May and you're accountable.
Well, at least we'll know I won't be any good for learning and development.
Yeah, tech support, that's as far as it goes. All good. I agree with pretty much all of it. Could have had a couple of extra things, maybe around like off the tool. So like, you know, the values, the mission, KPIs. I think that's a good start. I'll give you 24 hours to think through. So this time tomorrow in the afternoon, you can redo it, leave that on the board, and we'll see if you change anything.
Sounds good.
Cool, good work. I've been in the office since 6:45 this morning. The sun is out, or just about, so I thought I'd go for a walk to do a couple of things before Kyle gets into the office. Today, we have 3 new meetings. Kyle's got a new business meeting at 10 a.m. He's meeting a company director for the first time. At 1 p.m, I have a second business meeting. If you watched a video 2 weeks ago, you may have seen me on board on a head of technology role. They decided to pause and see if they could find someone internally for 2 weeks. Hopefully we can move forward with this opportunity. That's a new vacancy for us to work next week. And the meeting at 4 p.m. is with our non-exec director, Mark, and our CEO of a startup about a new partnership. So that should be quite exciting. All of today's content is going to be meeting based. The 48-hour deadline that we had for a silicon-based startup, we should find out today. My candidate is top 3. We'll find out if that's going to be an offer today. I've also got the disappointing news of letting Kyle know this morning, first thing, that his final stage on Wednesday has been unsuccessful. Really, really disappointed. But yeah, it's been a bit of a disappointing process, and we're really gutted that they haven't moved forward with this candidate after he came down to the office for the final stage and, you know, actually met the CEO. Good news is they want us to go back out to market next week, but we're going to have to sharpen up on systems and processes. Outside of those 2 main open loops, we've got a new podcast dropping this morning with Julia Mensa. That drops in around 20 minutes at 8 a.m, so make sure you go check it out. So yesterday, I gave Kyle the task of choosing Bailey's training for the first week. I gave him 24 hours to see if he wanted to change his mind. He's going to keep everything the same. I'm going to pass him the mic. But then as a bit of an extra, we are going to go into just a bit more detail on the days. For example, on Monday, we've got candidate conversations. I want to know 2 things on each on what exactly we want to teach. So Kyle is going to walk us through that, because this is all on him. This is his accountability on training a new starter. So, over to you.
So this is my final decision. Monday, we're going to start with candidate conversations, because it's very important to know how to speak to the candidates and what they're looking for in their next role. Tuesday is core values, because I think we all need to be aligned on the direction that the company's going on and making sure that we're all on the same page. Wednesday is how to identify good candidates, because if he is helping us out with roles, we want to make sure that his time is spent correctly. Thursday, ICP, so we can start building out his lists for prospecting for the companies that he's going to go at. And then Friday, just to understand terms of business.
Okay, so there's your final decision. I think those are 5 very good topics. Candidate Convos Monday, core values, identify good candidates, ICP and terms. Let us know in the comments if you would have done anything different, or if you think a new starter in the recruitment world should be trained on anything else. So before we go into the extra finer details, Kyle, tell me how your morning's gone so far.
Not so great. We're expecting to receive an offer today, and unfortunately they've decided not to move forward with the candidate. It was a very long process compared to our usual ones. Lots of internal matters on the client's behalf. So we had the final stage yesterday, and unfortunately there was too big of a gap between the markets that the candidate was coming from. So very unfortunate. The candidate's going to be devastated because they had their hopes up. So got to break some unfortunate news on this Good Friday. We had a meeting booked for this morning as well, and we had a no-show, which is very unfortunate because we booked it last week. The good news is, though, that the prospect has amended the calendar invite for next week, so it's not totally lost.
So it's been a bit of a challenging morning for us, Kyle in particular. Yeah, expected that offer, very disappointing, outside of our control, and then a meeting rearranged. Typical, we've had a few of those this month. What 2 things are we going to make sure we cover on that Monday to make sure he gets up to speed with how to speak to candidates?
The 2 things that I think are most important to get out of candidate conversations is 3 first non-negotiable questions when it comes to why they're looking, what's currently going on in their world, and why they've chosen to move on now.
What sort of questions are they? Open questions rather than closed questions. Because if you just teach him 3 questions, you're giving a man a fish.
Yeah,
you only need to teach him how to fish. Hey, Bailey, here's the 3 questions you need to ask. He won't understand why he's asking them. You might just think, oh, they're good questions, but he won't get that they're open. Yeah, so if he understands open, or the difference between open and closed, you'll get off to a better start.
Makes sense.
What else?
And setting expectations / next steps for the candidates, so the candidates know exactly where they are in the process and what we're going to be doing next.
That's the 2 things for Monday. Is there anything else that you think you might have missed?
Lead generation?
No.
No, don't think so.
So you've open questions is how you start, and you've gone then to expectation, next steps, which is where you end. What about the 10-minute conversation in the middle? You think it would be beneficial so he understands the framework and the structure that we follow in a call?
Yeah, for sure, but wouldn't that come under the open questions? Because the majority of the call is...
So this man has no recruitment experience ever. Ever. He's never spoken to a candidate from a recruitment perspective. And you reckon that we can tell him open questions and he'll know how to get from the beginning to the end?
No, of course not. But obviously we have the sheet. I imagine that we're going to go through the sheet with him, which is going to give him a bit more of an idea as well.
He doesn't know how to structure. He's got no idea how to structure a call.
Okay, so
he doesn't know who speaks
that
first.
was the answer.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Bare minimum, like architecture. Yeah, so he needs to know how to structure a call first, and then open questions, and then next steps are at the end of the call.
Cool.
But he's not going to be able to get to the next steps in a minute.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Okay, second one, and then we will do the rest off camera. So identify good candidates. What 2 things do you think are going to be very important for him to know so that he can identify good candidates?
So that'd be the first one for me. What type of background do they come from, as well as the companies that they've worked at?
Does that matter about a good candidate though? I see where you're coming from. You got to go further back than that. Yeah, you've jumped the process because you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know that that's going to be the next step. That's 2 months away. That's a fine answer. Background in companies, but he's not doing it for that reason. You think he's doing simple, you got to go even more simple than that. Yeah, it's just this guy has no experience. The big one that you missed that we talk about all the time,
Soft skills.
Yeah, that should be your first one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you identify a good candidate? Can they communicate well? Are they articulate? Do they have good energy? Do they ask questions? Are they curious? Do they seem ambitious? Which 2 do you reckon are the most important out of those 3?
Tenure and soft skills.
Cool. Well, those are very, very good. And we're going to do the rest off camera to see how you get on. That's it. That's Bailey's training done for the first week. Kyle has been the architect on all of Bailey's training. I've supervised and I'm very happy with the topics that he's picked. We've gone into a bit more detail on and off camera. I think it's good for someone like Kyle to take on this responsibility at this stage, and we'll both be doing the training as well. So I will do 3 days next week. Kyle will do 1 day, and we will both train this man up. For now, it's time for another meeting. Let's hope this one doesn't cancel. I am on the verge of burnout. So I have been unfortunate enough to burn out twice before in my career, and the most recent time is now. It's very difficult as a 100% shareholder and a business owner and as a leader. I've got people that look up to me and people around me, and I need to provide for them. I've been doing 2 podcasts a week. I've onboarded 2 new people recently, 4 if you class the non-exec directors. I'm single-handedly responsible for keeping the business afloat. I've started the week in the lives as well. I'm meeting 4 or 5 people a week outside of work, training for ultras. You know, there's a big long list of things that I'm doing, and I love that, and I absolutely enjoy everything I do. But when I stop enjoying those things, that's when I know I've pushed it too far. So I've come home for the afternoon. I've cancelled 1 meeting, which wasn't too important, but I've still got 2 meetings. One is about onboarding a potential new vacancy, and one is a new partnership. Hopefully close a new vacancy or a new partnership and brighten the end to the week. I hope that's honest enough for you that we share a lot of public wins, you know, on LinkedIn and on the video. But on the other end of that is fatigue and burnout. And whether it's cool or not, I think we should talk about it more. Right, 1:20, still no call, still no message. Not ideal, but I think that sums up the week, and it definitely sums up today. 2 meetings cancelled. I have 1 more meeting at 4 o'clock. I can't cancel that because it's very important, and Mark, the non-exec director, is going to be there. And more importantly, the other party has already confirmed that they're looking forward to it as well. That'll be the last meeting of the day. I'll then wrap up for the week and get some well-deserved rest before the new starter starts next week. I'm home. Yeah, I'm home for the afternoon. I work from home today. I'm feeling the effects this week a little bit on the end of the spectrum that's close to burnout. You know, feeling a bit overworked, but it's going well. Yeah, you know, we've onboarded 2 new people recently to help out with the marketing and the creative. You know, particularly the YouTube stuff. Yeah, very good. just to set the agenda, me and you had a very good conversation, Daniel, and a lot about the education and like knowledge piece around when companies are going to raise investment, which is very beneficial to them, and it's the long-term plan for us, which is absolutely what we want. It'd be good to hear what you think, Mark. What your position in this as, because it was your introduction. We both see a value add. Me and Daniel, I'm sure I speak for us both, but what avenue you coming up, Mark, would be helpful for us to see where we go from here as well. That's our huge value add, right? For when companies are ready to scale, especially for the senior management, is not just allowing us to find the right people based on trust. We're actually going to provide the people analytics platform as well, and I think that's going to be a real differentiator. I really do. So I think the brand awareness is really important to us. Hence why we sponsored a couple of local events as well. And I think that's what we'll drive as well, because we're really going down the content avenue, as you've seen. And I think that'll be another part of the collaboration, right? Raising both of our brands' awareness. In terms of next steps then, so I will send you the ICPs, company demographic that we're looking at in terms of location, sizes, and raising. That will help you. Is there anything else that you need from us at this stage? That sounds really good. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, I think it's very fair and honest to have some skin in the game. Yeah, good plan. And I am looking forward to it playing out as well as we both know it can. Yeah, I really am. I am finished. I'm finished for the day. I am finished for the week. And that was a very productive meeting. And I'm glad that I attended. And it's a great way to end the week. There's going to be some exciting things happening between us and them over the next 4 to 6 weeks. To be honest with you, I could have done without that meeting. The last 2 hours before this meeting, I had completely switched off and I was in weekend mode already. If it wasn't so important, I would have tried my best to rearrange. But you got to do what you got to do. Thanks for watching this week. Please let us know in the comments if you liked anything in particular and anything you want to see next week for episode 6.